Hi, and welcome to Franka Amica. We have recently released our newest firmware update, firmware version 5.3.0, and that introduces some major changes in the way the robot is programmed, the way the robot behaves, the performance of the front end, and also the way that you interact with the robot while programming, at least to a certain degree. And I have the pleasure of talking you through all the major changes today in this video. If we navigate to desk, you can see that there's already some changes to what you're probably used to. Mainly, we have this top header bar here at the top of the screen, which we have integrated a number of functions into. First, we have the interface selector here. So we are currently located in desk, but if you would like to go to Watchman for safety settings, or if you'd like to go into the settings page itself, we can simply select it and we will be navigating to the relevant page. That has previously been located in the top right corner drop-down menu. It is now here nice and visible for quick swapping between interfaces. The next thing is we have a language selector that you can also click. Currently, we only support English as language for our front end, but we are working on additional languages that will come with the next coming updates. One thing that is completely new is the robot information bar here. That gives you information regarding the robot's IP address, meaning the IP address of the master controller mainly. And also you can see here now a name for the robot. And that information is actually coming from Franka World. In Franka World, you can select a name for the robot and a location for the robot. That information is now being downloaded to the robot whenever you're doing an update, if you're installing apps or similar, and will be displayed here. That'll help you to make sure that you always are working on the right robot, especially if you're working in a multi-robot setup. Again, you can also click it, and you can see here we have a direct link to Franka World. You can see the robot status, which is currently offline. We have the reboot and shutdown functions, and we can navigate to the manuals, which are now also available with 5.3.0 in more languages than before. The last thing that we have is the user section up here, where we can see the current user, which is called Franka, and the role. We are in admin role right now. If we were to swap to safety operator, that would be also displayed here. And as well, we can click that and we can do all functions that have to do with user swapping. So we can release control or we can log out completely from the system. Those are all the functions that are located inside the top header bar, but that's not all. You can now hide the robot control bar and you can also hide the library. That is really handy when you're working with larger tasks, like I have one here right now. I can hide the library and I can also hide the control bar. So I can now scroll through the program and get a better understanding and a better overview where I'm located in right now. You can always bring these bars back by selecting it here at the bottom. The next thing, and maybe the biggest change in how you work with the robot from 5.3.0 onwards, also has to do with large task and large task handling. And it is nested tasks. Nested tasks, or the task inside task functionality, allows you to reference one task into another task. So you can call a program from a different program and therefore shrink down your individual tasks and just reference to them rather than having one really, really large task. I have prepared a parent task, which just selects between two branches, and I can now simply drag a child task into my task just like I used to with apps. And now I can see it is being displayed here inside my program, and it is also a little notifier shown here now where that program is actually linked to. I can do so with the second child task as well, and now I have a selector basically that performs two different routines. If I were to hit play, I would also actually see the contents of each child task. But while I'm in programming mode and not doing anything, we always only see this little grayed out placeholder which shows us which task is being referenced. One thing that is important to note here is that task nesting only works one level down. And we can also, therefore, not create any loops or anything like that. We might change that in the future, but for now, we think this is the easiest way and the most intuitive way to work with task in task. One other major thing that we are particularly proud of is the new fine pose adjustment. If we go into a task where we have motion apps and we have taught poses, we can now go into Edit and either open one of the editors, or we can also right-click it, same function. And you can see the robot loads up a 3D image of itself in its current position. So the robot is currently located in the packed position, as you can see here, just like it comes out of the box. And we can also see the position that we taught. So up here you can see the position that is currently stored, and you can always see how the robot is approaching it. Then we have all these functions that we used to have also located down here. So you have your desired position, which you can tweak. You can change between base and end effector coordinate frame. You see your live position, and you can also see the stored pose if you were to make changes to it currently here. You can take the live position or the stored pose if you would like to reset it. You can save the whole changes that you've made. And of course, you can also move to the position if you have connected your X4 interface activation device, this little deadman switch. If you keep that pressed, you can also press this button and the robot will move to the position that you had taught. And you can also monitor this inside the live view of the fine pose adjustment. Those were all the major changes that we have introduced that you will really realize when you're working with the robot. But there is one more thing, but these are actually a combination of a lot of different efforts that we've made in the background. We have increased our system performance significantly. That is visible especially when you're working with very, very large tasks. You probably were used to having some delays of a few seconds whenever you were loading apps into your task or deleting them, moving them around in tasks. That has been significantly reduced. So if I now take an app and want to load it into this task, it actually only takes a second or two. And this task, let me zoom out for you, is really the largest task you will probably ever encounter. So you can see this experience has been improved significantly, but we are not stopping there. We are in the background still working on reducing this even further, and we are committed to eliminating this delay completely in the coming updates. Same goes if you want to, for example, delete an app from a task. We have now got this new workflow where you can drag it into the delete section, or you can abort the action. That is just there in case you didn't want to do anything with the app and you mistakenly drag the app out. You're no longer moving it around. You really have to make sure that you're dragging it into the delete sections and you don't accidentally delete apps. And again, you can see the app is gone in no time. On top of that, we have also invested some work in making the system more stable and robust. So we have listened to any reported bugs that we have received and fixed them. Also, we have improved error recovery routines. For example, the biggest one is the joint position error recovery routine, which occurs whenever you move the robot with the power turned off, so the robot doesn't actually know it has been moved. Then you will see this dialog which tells you to reference each joint to its original starting position, which is kind of like a right angle pose where all the arrows on the joints are aligned. This is now possible for each joint individually, and you don't have to move the robot into this right angle position as a whole, which is really, really handy when you have an obstructed workspace. So you can't actually move the robot into this position. So you just do the joints that you need to recover individually, but you can still move the other joints. So you can move the robot into a position that is possible with your workspace and without having any collisions. Then you recover the joint and then you can move it back into a different position. That really helps when you encounter these errors and you don't have a lot of space around your robot, basically. Those were really the major features of 5.3.0. There will be further updates coming in the future, but we are really proud of this one in particular, as we are sure this will make your lives a lot easier. And therefore, I hope you really have fun with this update and enjoy working with your robot. Thank you.